Good morning. My name is Louis Skadir, Principal of Riverbend Retail Consulting. In July of this year, my primary career responsibility for the last 40 years will have been to analyze markets and select supermarket locations. In this day and time of blurring channels of trade, e-commerce, and buy online, pick up in stores, it is my contention that it is now more important than ever to make certain that the location one chooses optimizes one's opportunity for success. Today, I hope to give you some key insights into those characteristics, which I feel like are important in evaluating a given location as a prospective supermarket. If there's only one thing you folks take away from the presentation this morning, it's the following. If the potential isn't there and isn't going to be there, it doesn't matter how good the deal is. So, what is market potential? Market potential in this instance is an area's ability to support a supermarket. Market potential is fundamentally defined by three components: people, expenditures, and competition. Without potential, nothing else matters. The body count in the trade area is the very first thing I look at to decide whether or not I should pursue a location further. In my experience, a general rule of thumb is that a typical 35 to 40,000 square foot supermarket needs roughly 12,000 persons per competitor within a defined trade area. However, this rule of thumb can vary widely based upon the expenditures of consumers within a trade area. How much an average consumer of a given trade area spends on groceries directly impacts the number of consumers necessary to add one store. Expenditures vary widely, typically based on family size and income. However, it should be noted that when median household incomes exceed $75,000 a year, some supermarket potential tends to get shifted away from supermarkets to restaurants. That fact aside, the current average weekly expenditure in the U.S. for food at home is approximately $75 a person. So, in the area of competition, let's get a definition in place. Density, according to Webster, is a quantity per unit volume. In the supermarket industry, a common metric used to measure a type of density is competitive density. Competitive density typically measures the number of persons per 1,000 square feet of supermarket within a defined trade area. In 2019, there were approximately 237 persons for every 1,000 square feet of supermarket space in the United States. What does this mean to you? Well, if one knows the total size of all the supermarkets in the trade area and the total population within that trade area, one can calculate the population per 1,000 square feet of supermarket space. If the answer to that calculation is greater than 261, which is 10% larger than 237, the market is possibly understored. Conversely, if the number is smaller than 213, which is 10% less than 237, the market's probably overstored. One final thing. Oftentimes, operators believe they can run a competitor out of the market and by doing such achieve a sustainable market share. I've been there more than once, so believe me when I say competitors always hang around longer than one expects. So, this leads us to the second takeaway of the day. All things being equal, people are like water. They flow along the path of least resistance. In order for one to take advantage of this fact, one must consider the accessibility, traffic volume, and the possibility that a location can intercept or be intercepted by competition. Accessibility is the quality of being able to be reached or entered. For supermarket locations, the essential components of accessibility are a road network, ingress-egress, and turn movements. When evaluating road network, one should evaluate the availability of population to reach a given location from all points within the defined trade area. This means, among other things, that one must be aware of physical barriers such as rail yards, mountains, and rivers, or impediments to free traffic movement, such as one-way streets, highway medians, or interstate highways. In the area of ingress-egress, a good supermarket location should have access to at least 2 streets, multiple driveway cuts, and the opportunity to take advantage of a back door if one is available. A back door, as I call it, is an access point which people can use to get to a site without having to get on a major street. In the picture shown, this location appears to have most of these characteristics. However, looks are deceiving, as it is my opinion that this is not a good location. Let me explain to you why. So, first we have entrance right here off of a frontage road. Now, I don't have a problem with frontage roads, but in this particular instance, the actual access to the frontage road is roughly a half mile away. On top of that, you've got a turn exit right here at this point where you have to cover 5 lanes of traffic, including a turn lane that often gets congested in the evening. In this location, theoretically, there's an apartment complex back up here. Theoretically, you have a back door where these people can get in to the shopping center. However, at this point, with people stacked up trying to make the 5-lane turn out of this shopping center, this point gets congested. Therefore, it's very tough for people to actually utilize the back door to have access to the parking lot. So let's look and see what a good site looks like as far as back doors are concerned. In this particular instance, we've got a site right here. Here's your main drag right here. You've got a back door. You've got this access point right here. You've got another access point back in the back. You've got an additional access point right here where all of the population, which is significant as you can see, all of this population down in here can get access to this site without ever having to get on this main drag. That's a good back door. Turning to turn movements, one must always remember that all things being equal, the location which requires the fewest turns from street to parking space will always win from a convenience standpoint. Also, when one looks at a prospective supermarket location, one should be aware of what is commonly known as the going home side or going home from work side of the street, usually part of the evening commute. Finally, customers should be able to get into and out of a given location without feeling like they have a target on their back. Now, let's look at this former Whole Foods location that opened and closed within a 2-year period and see if we can determine why. So, in this instance, we've got roughly 50,000 cars a day, 30,000 on this highway, 25,000 on this highway, going past this location. Now, one would think that that's pretty good. However, in this instance, the going home traffic has to make a double left. It's a double lane left turn right here. And they make this turn. There's no deceleration lane, so you can't turn into this location without, or this location without feeling like you're at risk for getting rear-ended as you're turning in, because once again, there's no way to slow down. And trust me, these people make this left turn at speed. This is in Hoover, Alabama. So one has to drive all the way past this store and up to this intersection in order to make a right turn in. Then they have to make another right turn. Then they have to come in here and make a right turn into the parking lot. And finally, with the 90-degree parking, which we'll get into later, they're into the store. Now, that's getting them into the store. Getting them out of the store is worse in the aspect that, particularly if you're trying to get back onto this highway, you The only exit point that you have, because all of this is blocked unless you want to come through the Walgreens parking lot and weave through here, and this gets congested at evening commute. And then on top of that, we were talking about the 5-lane turn movement that you had to make to get out on that other location. In this instance, you've got 7 lanes that you've got to come across. And in fact, there's even a slightly raised median here, which you can cross, but you really don't want to. So you've got that. So you don't want to make a left turn out of here. So the only place that you can make a left turn is all the way down here. And you've got one way to get out, because there's no way to get out along all these out parcels. And these out parcels block the visibility to this store. So you get down here. This is an uncontrolled intersection. Remember, we've got almost 25 to 30,000 cars a day on this road. Speed limit down here is 50 miles an hour. Now you can see just even in this view right here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars stacked up trying to make a left-hand turn out of this location. This is a bad site, even though it's good traffic volume. This is a bad location, and Whole Foods closed after 2 years. So, traffic volume, a double-edged sword. Too much is bad, but too little is worse. For small stores, anything less than $2,500 a day, or 2,500 cars a day, and traffic count on the road in front of your store, walk away. Conversely, high traffic volume plus heavy congestion can give you what I call a Hotel California site, where you can check out, but you can never leave. To intercept or be intercepted? That is the question. Remember these 9 P's and you will always be in better shape. Proper property positioning proximate to population pretends to produce positive performance. What the heck does that mean, you say? Well, whenever possible, try to find a location which places you between the population and your competition. Also, when surveying an area, look for other viable sites which may cut off a prospective location from the population it serves. Let's look at that old Winn-Dixie site again. So here we are, we've got the site, the frontage road issues, the ingress-egress issues, the back door that wasn't the back door. Now, on top of that, let's add to it the fact that it's cut off by competition in all 4 directions. To the north, you've got Aldi, and I believe this was a cash saver. To the east, you've got Publix and Walmart Neighborhood Market. To the south, you've got a Walmart Supercenter. To the west, you've got another independent, you've got the Fresh Market and Publix. And then to the northwest, you got Publix and another independent, I believe was Piggly Wiggly. So, you've got site issues as far as ingress-egress goes, and then you cut off by competition in all 4 directions. This is not a good location. Takeaway number 3. I've seen more than once where poor site design has killed a good piece of dirt. Some factors to consider to avoid inappropriately designing a site are parking, structure placement, and signage. Always remember groceries are freight. Groceries are probably the single heaviest type of merchandise regularly purchased by the American consumer. Parking should always be convenient to the exit of the store. Offset parking is potentially a recipe for disaster. Primary parking should always be near the exit but away from the curb. Typically, for a supermarket, a parking ratio of 4 spaces for every 1,000 square feet of store area is the minimum acceptable. Also, if possible, 60-degree angle parking is preferable to 90-degree parking. There are differing opinions regarding angled parking versus straight-in parking. However, it is my experience that 60-degree parking enhances the convenience perception, again, all things being equal. Now let's turn to structure placement. One should always be aware of the potential for predatory parking. There are some uses, such as gyms, restaurants, or theaters, that can tie up primary customer parking for long periods of time if they are located too close to a store. In order for all tenants to be able to play nicely in the sandbox together, a minimum distance of 250 feet should be stipulated in any lease agreement to be maintained between the primary entrance of the supermarket and the primary entrance of any predatory use. Regarding outparcels associated with the shopping center, both lots and structures on such parcels should be located in such a way as to not impede ingress, egress, or line of sight visibility. Once again, coming back to this location in Alabama, this is a perfect example of what not to do. As you can tell, your line of sight is from this intersection right here, from this intersection right here, and then coming up or down this line. Well, the fact of the matter is, the only good visibility you've got is going in this direction, and unless you've got a neck like the girl in The Exorcist, there's no way that you're going to be able to turn your head and see the store from here. In addition to the fact that the Walgreens is blocking the visibility of this site, you've got trees along here. So the first clear line of visibility you've got is right here. Same thing along this highway. If you look, you've got 4 different out parcels here that include the visibility of this site as you're sitting in the car. Once again, this is necessary in order to maintain good visibility. Half the problem with the store is you had ingress, egress issues and visibility issues. So two of the key points that make a successful supermarket location were missing at this particular site. Finally, in the area of signage, one must be aware of what local ordinances, which typically govern signage, actually say in black and white versus just relying on staff interpretation of such ordinances. Also, always remember, the faster the speed on the primary road, the larger the sign needs to be in order for drivers to read it. Ideally, some form of signage should be placed on each primary street that services the supermarket. As with building placement, one should take care to make sure that signs are located in such a way as to not impede ingress, egress, or visibility. In conclusion, here are your 3 takeaways for today. If the potential isn't there and isn't going to be there, it doesn't matter how good the deal is. All things being equal, people are like water. They flow along the path of least resistance. Poor site design can kill a good piece of dirt. And your bonus alliteration for the day, proper property positioning proximate to population pretends to produce positive performance. I would like to thank NGA and Harold Lloyd for the opportunity to share this information with you today. If you'd like a handout of the presentation or have any questions with which I may be of assistance, please email me at lou@riverbendconsulting.net or visit www.riverbendretailconsulting.com on the web. Thank you.